the joining happened. That handmaiden, what's her name? Millicent? I don't know. Sounds like Maleficent to me.
Kieran always talks about, you asked too many questions. She hasn't asked that many questions. And I'm like, is this actually Poppy?
Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Safa. Today I'm going to be doing a spoiler review of, I forgot the name already, The War of the Two Queens by Jennifer L. Armentrout. If you didn't know, this is book 4 of the From Blood and Ash series, and the series basically goes from Blood and Ash, book 1, A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, book 2, The Crown of Gilded Bones, book 3, and then we leave off with this one, the recent installment, The War of the Two Queens, which is book 4. Where we left off with The Crown of Gilded Bones, we have Castile, who has been taken captive and prisoner by the Blood Queen. That was a heartbreaking scene. I love him, but it's heartbreaking because he's back in the place where he never wanted to be again. Yeah, he is her prisoner, and he has to relive all those traumatic things he went through the previous time he went through that, and it's just really sad. My favorite line from The Crown of Gilded Bones was that very ending. Poppy was such a badass. She was like, if you harm Castile, you will see your cities leveled. Not destroyed, leveled. And I was like, that is such a good line. And from there on, Poppy has discovered that Malik is not her father, but Iris, his twin. Jadis is missing. We have the Draken by her side now. Draken is basically dragons, but they are there now. Nyktos is awake. A lot of things are going down now. And then we start off this book. Anyway, so this is where I'm going to start the reading vlog. So yeah, let's just, get into it.
Doing my first update of the book. Now I've read 100 pages of it already, so that's why I'm kind of just jumping into it. And so what happened so far is that we start off the book with Poppy and Kieran and all the Wolven going to seize and try to take over Carcedonia bit by bit, so they're not going after Castile right away. And so I love how Poppy and Kieran's relationship are really developing. Not as much bantery relationship, but more like trustworthy. Like you can tell they're both severely affected by Castile's captivity, but despite wanting to save him, like they obviously really want to do that first and foremost, they are trying to continue this goal of succeeding in the war and defeating Carcedonia and the Blood Queen, and to like stop this whole chaos from ensuing, because there's a whole lot of it going on. But Poppy and Kieran's relationship is getting so much better. This is something I did want to see because they've always been bantering. Kieran always talks about, you asked too many questions. She hasn't asked that many questions. And I'm like, is this actually Poppy? At the same time, I'm actually glad because that was just a common repetitive thing that would go on for all the books, and it would get a little annoying at times, but it's getting much better in this. But that's kind of where I am right now. I have high hopes. It's going really well, honestly. I'm just waiting for their reunion. Poppy and Cass, like, they won't say his name, and that makes me so sad. Like, just say his name. Okay, I'm gonna continue reading because it's killing me.
Okay, hi, I'm here. I have a little update. I'm on page 178 of The War of Two Queens. The same thing is happening like it did with The Crown of Gilded Bones. It's drawn out way too much. There's little to no action and mostly words. And I know that sounds hypocritical. It's a book. Obviously it's gonna be words, but that's not what I meant. You know the saying, less talking, more doing? That's exactly what should happen in this book, and yet the opposite is occurring. The only thing that's memorable so far that's happened in like the last time I updated you was the fact that Poppy's bloodstone dagger, the one that she's had with her that Victor gave her, was actually, it was made from the bones of Malik, Castile's brothers, what's it called? His Wolven, like his Wolven partner. I forgot what they called. Perry. I think it was Perry. And basically when she went to go save Malik when he was originally taken by the Blood Queen along with Castile, she went after him, his Wolven, and she got captured and they tortured her and they like disemboweled her and everything. It was like horrible. They took her bones, grinded it, and made the dagger. And Malik knew that the thing that Poppy had was that. Okay, update. We basically are at the part on chapter 14 where Poppy, Kieran, and Emil, and basically they're trying to storm Oak Ember and retake the port. They've been confronted with these guards, and all I'm thinking about is that Reaver has just basically blown the gate away with his fire, and I'm just thinking this is basically a Game of Thrones season 8 moment, because the exact same thing happened, if you remember, where Drogon, I think that was the dragon's name, Daenerys rode on, basically incinerated the gate. And that's exactly what's happening right now. So I'm thinking this is very Game of Thrones-esque. At least what I'm noticing is that it's progressing a lot faster, which I'm liking a lot more than the last couple of books. Because the last couple of books there was so much talking, and there is a lot of talking in this, but it's happening at a much more entertaining rate, if that kind of makes sense. I don't know. Let's just continue. That was dark. I'm on page 219, and it was a dark chapter. So they basically sieged Oak Ember. They tried to save as many people as they can by rushing them out in terms of just normal citizens. And then they went to look for like the thousands of children who were taken away to do the right and whatever. And they were trying to find the Ascended, but turns out some of them escaped. And then some of the priestesses were like hauled away and kind of stored somewhere, and they found some of them. That's not even the worst of it. The worst of it is that they found 2 sites within that city where there was a bunch of girls who were mutilated. I'll say that. It was horrible. And then they found a spot underground, I think, what they call a tomb, where there's bones and fresh bodies of dead children who they were supposed to look for because they were just recently taken, and they basically found them all. Yeah, and I'm not even done the chapter yet. Well, hopefully we'll get Castiel's perspective soon, because this is somber and I need something a bit more uplifting. Although his situation isn't really that much better. But you know what? We'll hope for the best. The only thing to really lighten up, I just love how they're having a somber mood, and the thing to lighten it up is to walk in on someone reading Miss Willa's diary, and then they all have a whole conversation about why it's there, and then Poppy's like, Castiel brought it with him, what do you think? And Kieran's like, of course it makes sense, it's him. Now that I'm reading more of this, it feels very similar aesthetic-wise and like almost plot-wise to Game of Thrones, at least a TV show. I haven't read the book, so I don't know much or anything about it in terms of that. However, the whole thing of like the last season, it kind of suits this whole theme that's going on here about sieging these cities and all these other things. Having these characters who have these quirky personalities and always, you know, complain to each other. It's just really funny that way. I know I'm basically reacting to everything I read at this point. Tawny and Gianna came back. So Tawny's awake. Gianna went to find Poppy and they reunited. But they're saying Tawny feels different, obviously because she got almost killed. But she's back now. And then she said she met Victor. And now they're alluding to the fact that Victor prevented her from dying, and they're talking about the fates. And spoiler alert, if you have not read A Shadow in the Ember, I'm going to mention a small spoiler at the end. It's not, I mean, just be careful. Just skip a little bit. Anyway, so they said the fate, like Seraphina's guard, I forgot Sir something, whatever his name was. He was her protector at the time, and he turned out to be a fate. A person who controls these things. I forgot what the purpose of it was. But I'm assuming Victor is the same, because like that book and the From Blood and Ash series, everything is paralleled. So I'm going to assume Victor is the same for Poppy. If I'm right, a quick pat on the back for me, just because I can foreshadow and accurately predict for once. Okay, I'm gonna continue reading. I called it! I'm still reading it, but hold on. Is warranted to guard someone the fates believe is destined to bring about some great change or purpose. I got the impression that all are aware. Like the fates are being brought together. I think victors are aware. Yeah, I completely forgot. Is that what their name was? The fates assign protectors, but they're called victors? I don't remember that. It's probably another name in The Shadow and the Ember, but oh well. Hi, I'm back with another update. I don't even remember what I said last time, but I read a significantly a lot more pages. I'm on page 490 now. A lot has happened, let me tell you. Okay, so I'm trying to think. I think the last time I left off, I talked about how they were just starting to invade Ember. So from that point on, a shit ton went down. So first of all, they were able to seize the port and they headed to Carcedonia. Upon heading to Carcedonia, they got caught by the handmaiden. I think that was Millicent. There's a whole lot of stuff to deal with her. Anyway, so she caught up with them. And then she brought them to the Blood Queen. Because they're like, oh, we were expecting you to come. I mean, to some extent, yes, it's quite obvious. Like they were going to come for Castile one way or another. But they're like, we had the entrances blocked into the mine so you wouldn't even be able to get in without being noticed. I was like, okay, fine. Then we get to the point where her and her mother meet, and then they have this whole fighting thing. It's like, whatever. And then Malik comes out. A lot of stuff happened between him and Kieran. Fast forward, Poppy eventually meets Cass again. Oh my god, that was so sweet. My heart is full now. Completely full. Oh, it was so sweet. And then they had to be pulled apart, and then that asshole Callum threw a Shadowstone dagger into Cass's chest. I freaked out. I was like, no, because he was already on the edge of his like bloodlust type thing, which is bad news as it is. And because Poppy left him and didn't give him her blood to feed off of, because he's like, no, I can't do this, like you have so much to do, you have to stay strong or whatever. But she's like, feed, you need to feed. I was like, dude, just feed. It would have saved so much hassle. And then eventually her, Kieran, and Reaver decided, you know what, enough's enough. I'm not putting up with her bullshit anymore. We're gonna go down and save Cass, because they had some ultimatum by the Blood Queen. So eventually, in the middle of the night, those three went out and escaped wherever they were living from and went to go look for Cass. But apparently they suggested that he might be underground, the Temple of Nyktos. So they went there. And upon going there, who did they stumble upon? Malik. Because at that point, they were kind of stuck. Poppy was about to use that locating spell to see where Cass was and find him. But Malik showed up. He's like, I can just show you the way because I've seen him before. And I was like, what is happening? And then we eventually learn, eventually we learn that handmaiden, what's her name? Millicent? I don't know. Sounds like Maleficent to me. Anyway, so she is there. And he told Poppy that she is his heartmate. And that's the reason why he hasn't left or come back to Atlantia. Because he refuses to leave her in the care of the Blood Queen, because Millicent, I'm going to call her Maleficent at this point, okay? Maleficent at this point is known, she's actually Poppy's twin sister. For some reason, she's identical to her. And she's like some failed version of a reverend. That's like all confusing stuff, but that's not the most important thing. She's like, and Malik is like her heartmate, which confuses a hell of a lot more things. Anyway, fast forward, they end up breaching Cass. They break him out, but keep him in this chains because he's overcome with bloodlust at this point. So they had to knock him out. You know, everyone's safe for now. And then, what else happened? Brain fart. Oh my god, brain fart. Okay. They went to the house. Cass wakes up. They feed him Poppy's blood. It all gets better. They have a cute moment. The scene, you know, they make out, whatever. All that good stuff. Anyway, fast forward after that. Then Cass, Kieran, Poppy, and Reaver all meet. They have a discussion about all this shitstorm going on. And they kind of hash it out for a little bit. Banter, yada, yada, yada. And then eventually, the Blood Queen shows up. They are basically on the run to escape. They want to leave. But what happens is that somehow, I don't know why they stopped, but they stopped and she was like, I will not let you, Malik or Cass, leave this place without making a deal with me. And she was saying, like, I will not allow you to leave unless you bring Malik back to me. Like, the Naito's son, Malik. Poppy's like, and why would I just bring Malik back to you when I could just stay there? Like, it doesn't make sense. And so, like, the whole situation of that scene was just really confusing. It didn't make sense to me how she just agreed to bring Malik to her, although it's just messed up in that kind of sense. But anyway, so eventually, the saddest part is that she cursed Kieran by, like, slashing, no, it's actually Callum, that idiot. He slashed Kieran's arm, so it was poisoned and cursed. And what's her freaking name? Isbeth. If you want this Wolven to live, I'm the only one who can cure this curse. So if you want him to live, you need to go find Malik, resurrect him, and bring him back to me. And then Poppy's like, oh, all right, I'll go do it. But then she was on the verge of attacking her. But Castiel was like, no, we've been through this before in the Crown of Gilded Bones. We're not going to do this again. I've been stuck in that cell for way too long to have this done again, okay? That's just kind of where I left off. And yeah, see, this is stuff I should have updated you like multiple times, but I just didn't. Obviously, at this point, I'm just like, if this is truly like a Game of Thrones type of aesthetic or like vibe going on in this book, then why couldn't they just hop on Reaver's back and they just like fly them out of there into Atlantia or something? Like, you know how much easier that would have been? Like, my only reason of why they wouldn't do that is just because Isbeth knows now that he's like a draken and she can do that little primal thing where she like kills them all, which is really sad, by the way. But anyway, like, they could have done that so many times. It's just like, why wouldn't you? Anyway, so yeah, let's just continue. I had to update because the thing I literally just read, they keep bringing up the joining in every single book, but they never been like serious about it. And now I think it's become serious. And I'm like, is this actually gonna happen? But now it's for logical reasoning because Kieran is injured. And basically Reaver is saying, if you, Poppy, and Cass are joined together, then Kieran won't have to deal with the curse because his lifespan is tied to Poppy's, and Poppy's like eternal at this point. You know, so it wouldn't affect him. Or maybe it would. He just can know for sure. But like, he's positive that it would save him. So now it seems like it's gonna happen at this point. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's just continue. The War of Two Queens is officially complete. the joining happened. I just glossed over and kind of skipped it. I was like, oh, I don't... okay, yeah. So that happened. Afterwards, they went to Macedonia. No, they went to go find Malik's grave. They found it. You know, that's the thing with these chapters. They drag on so much. When, like, they said they found a couple cravens they fought, then they found these Gurms. And now they're heading to, what's it called? Macedonia, Carcedonia, wherever the freaking Blood Queen is, or wherever they're supposed to meet. They went there. And then all hell broke loose. Literally. Okay, here's my thing, is that every time these guys go in to meet the Blood Queen, they never have a plan of attack. Like, they have some simple thing, but they don't do something that involves a lot of thought that they could easily deceive her with. And I feel like she always gets the upper hand just because they don't think about that. Because she always has some other way to deceive them, always works out to her benefit, and they always, like, lose every time because of it. And it's just annoying how this pattern keeps going on. And I was thinking, like, okay, the same thing like the Crown of Gilded Bones is probably gonna happen this too, where something bad happens and then they lose and then Malik is given up. Something happens to Kieran. That's what I thought. But no, let me tell you, the queen is dead. Hallelujah. We need to celebrate. She's finally dead. We've been waiting for this for so long, and a lot of things went down. Poppy, she is like, what, a primal of life now? Honestly, there's so many things going on in this series that's just so complicated, but you know, I got the general gist of what's going on. Malik was taken by Reaver to Elysium, and what the heck is that? Okay, yeah, he's taken to Elysium. Poppy killed the Blood Queen. Oh my god, yeah, I forgot. Delano and Niall almost died. Like, they died, and like, it would have been tragic if they died. It is so sad. Anyway, so they're back, which I'm happy about. And then the best part about the book, besides, you know, it ended, was the fact that we see Nektas. Nektas is the, like, first Draken. So he was there, he found his way back to Poppy, and he was telling her that although the Blood Queen is dead and Malik is brought back and all these other things going on, now Colas, like the evil primal, the primal of life, or I don't even know what kind of primal he is, he's back. And now he's going to cause irreparable damage to everyone and everything in its path. Probably destroying everything. And now he's saying to Poppy, you people need to watch what you're doing because bad things are going to happen. So now he's saying, you need to come to Elysium and deal with all this stuff because all the gods are waking up because of this. So that's basically how it ends. And I mean, I'm glad the queen's dead, first and foremost. Second, Kieran was healed. That's, you know, thing. I didn't expect the joining to happen, and yet that happened. Niall and Delano are still okay. That's like the main things. I feel like I'm missing something. Something important. Oh yeah, I mean, what's her name? Maleficent, whatever I called her. She ran off. Oh, and that guy, that Reverend Callum, he's like, I'm getting like these vibes, like he's like pulling all the strings in the background to make all this happen. Overall rating of this book, I think I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5 stars just because, you know, there was a lot more happening in this book. We see a lot more growth in Poppy in terms of her powers. She has a lot more control. We see that she has become more of a leader because of Castiel's absence. In the Crown of Gilded Bones, there was like only the first 100 pages and the last 100 pages really contained things that are central to progressing the plot. Everything else in between was just literally filler. It wasn't necessary at all. But this one, total opposite. I'm glad that things that I had issues with in terms of seeing like recycled banter, in terms of Kieran always saying, Poppy, you asked too many questions, and things about just constantly repeating things we already know in the story. That was always getting on my nerves in this. But in this book, she completely changed that. Like, it's a lot better. Yeah, this was a good plot progressive book because a lot of things happened that needed to happen, but now we have a new enemy in the midst, and I feel like the next book is gonna be so complicated because there's gonna be so many people. Yeah, common criticisms I found about this book was that Poppy and Kieran's relationship at times in the beginning before they met up with Cass again was a little weird, just because, you know, Poppy's married and Kieran's his bonded woven. Now, I can understand that to an extent, but I feel like for the most part against it, because Kieran was just there to give Poppy support where Castiel wasn't. Because if there's anyone other than Castiel who's gonna know Poppy the best, support her, and make her feel better the way he did, it would be Kieran, because he's the one Castiel trusts the most. So obviously Kieran takes it upon himself to really protect Poppy in Castiel's place, because that's something that he would want to do. And I don't mind that. That's fine. But, you know, at times it was a little weird. But, and then the joining happened. Let's just forget about that. Okay. But now, because of the joining, now they all get to live the same lifespan, which I'm so happy about, because I hate it when stories have, like, characters in a relationship where one has, like, this infinite type of super long life expectancy while another is, like, completely short in comparison. It's just, like, the worst, because you know one's gonna die before the other, and then they have to live a long life without them. That's just so sad to me. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video. Next video, I think I'm gonna do the love hypothesis, because it finally showed up in my library list. I placed a hold on it, but I was put on a wait list because there's like 50 people on it. But it finally came in and I can start reading it, and I will. So stay tuned for that.